Hi everyone, it's Mikhail. Today I'll be showing you why h4, the Nagorko attack, is actually a blunder. The main moves in Nagorko's move is g5, then after you capture, you're gonna play bishop h6, and obviously you wanna capture with the rook first, because if he capture with the pawn, he's gonna capture with the knight, and then he's gonna play rook g8. You're gonna capture g7. He's gonna capture the bishop here, and once you've taken the f pawn, he's gonna capture with the king and have a loose cannon, which is the bishop. He's simply gonna play b5, and you're gonna be forced to take, and then he will play bishop b7, and then knight a6, and it will go from there. So that's why you need to capture with the rook, and once he takes with the knight, you're gonna take with the pawn, and then black will get his king closer so that he can sack his king and then rook. Obviously, his main plan is to play queen g8 and then have the queen race from there. But obviously, white has to play something in this position. So, but it doesn't really matter what white plays here, because it's a forced win for black. That's why you never want to play the Nagorko attack. But obviously, if white plays d4, you're gonna play e5 and then have a loose bishop right here, and it will go maybe like that. Take and then take, and then here take, here take, here take, here take, and it will go from there, and it's a win for black. So white is probably not gonna play d4. G4 is actually the most common play here. That way he's trying to advance the pawn and get you to take with one of the pawns here. Obviously you don't want to take with that pawn because you would free your rook, so you will take with this pawn, and then he will play knight h3 and try to gain a tempo, and then play knight g5 with the idea to take on h7 and get your rook. But the response to that is pretty simple. You're gonna play e6, and then white is most likely to play g5 to get your queen activated, and then play f4. That way he's just trying to delay his mate, which is fine, I guess. But simply you're gonna take on here, and now maybe white is gonna try to get rid of his bishop. You're simply gonna take on d2, and it doesn't really matter what he take with here. Obviously he wants to take the queen first, and once he does that, you're simply gonna play king g7 to gain the tempo. Obviously if you gain the tempo, he shouldn't be capturing the king first. He should get rid of his bishop, simply because he can play e4 after you capture here, and then you will be forced to capture on the d pawn. But it doesn't really matter, it's gonna be a loss anyway, because black's simply gonna capture with the bishop, and it doesn't matter if what you promote to. If white promotes to let's say queen, he will simply play knight a6, and then it's an easy one for black from there. And let's say he promotes to uh let's say he promotes to a king. He's simply gonna play knight over this side, and once you capture here, the king will be forced to capture the rook on g8, and it will go from there. So it's an easy one for black. So this line loses like in 12 moves or something. So let's see another line, and we'll finish up the video soon, I promise. um What other lines can we see? Let's say he plays knight h3 was the idea that he wants to have the knight on g5. That way he can get one of these pawns and get you to take, and then he would maybe promote to a king and wouldn't have to take anything. But actually, the right move here for black is not take your he shouldn't be promoting right away, so he shouldn't be playing king g7 right away to get your pawn activated, because then he will simply have to capture whatever he promote to. Even if he goes queen g8, you'll simply gonna promote to a queen, and once he takes on g2, it will be a queen race. It still loses for white, but it will just take a little longer. So what black must do here is try to get rid of his queen. So he simply should be playing e6, and then if white plays knight right away, then it's you simply take the knight, and maybe white is gonna play g4. That way he doesn't have to get his bishop involved, and after take it will be the same thing. And it doesn't matter what he promotes to. Let's say he promotes to a king, black simply gonna play b5, and once you promote to a king, he will play bishop b7, and once you capture on h7, he will get your bishop involved, and it will be an easy one from there. And let's say that after b5, let's say white promotes to a queen maybe. Obviously he's not gonna take this pawn right away, because he wants to get rid of his queen, and if he takes this pawn, then it's an easy win for black. He's gonna take this pawn. Let's see what's the best. Pause the video to see what's the best move for black here is. Or actually see if you can find the mating sequence for black here. The first move is gonna be actually d5, and that way if black takes the bishop, some will say that this squares right here is protected twice. This pawn is protected by this pawn, and this knight is protected by this rook, but then it will be simply playing knight d7 and remove both protection. And if he takes the rook, then we'll simply play e5. That way we're removing the protection, and it's an easy win from there. And after d5, I'm sorry, and if he takes the h pawn, you're simply gonna play bishop b7, and after he takes the pawn, you're gonna play knight uh d7, and after he takes maybe this pawn, some people think that this pawn is overprotected. Give it a second to think what you should do here, since this pawn is overprotected. That's right, you're simply gonna move it forward, and it doesn't matter if he takes this pawn right here. You're simply gonna play rook here, and if he takes the rook, you're gonna play bishop here, get him activated again. Pause the video again to see how you can get rid of these 4 pawns right here. There are many ways actually that you can get rid of these 4 pawns right here. I think the fastest might be e5. That way he's forced to take on the a pawn, and then you play c5, and he's forced to take the c5 pawn, and then you move forward with any of these pawns right here, and he's gonna have to take any of them. But overall, never play h4 as a starting move in anti-chess. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. Take care and see you later.